day. So if you just close your eyes or just have soft eyes and just take a breath in with me and just know that today is the day. This moment is this moment right here, right now. And as you breathe in that breath of life, of light, of serenity, of peace and calmness of mind and clarity, just notice everything that is happening around you, the sounds, the smells, what's going on inside yourself and your body as it rests and settles into this time of open heart and open mind and wisdom that shows up in yourself and others. And this beginning of this new day, as we are enjoying the longest days of our planet as it is close to the sun. And as our soul seeks that sun and that vitality and that vibration, we know that it comes from source, and source is who we are. Source is what we are. It is the breath. So I'm thankful for all of the community members, all these wonderful expressions of humans, spirit showing up as human right here, right now. So thankful for all of this today, and thankful for this fantastic spiritual director we have today called Rev Savanna. So thrilled and delighted with the musician that we have today, Ranj Singh. It's so amazing to have all of these people and all of these expressions show up on our behalf in this community. And I'm so thankful for this today. So just take in another breath and enjoy the moment, enjoy the day, and know that all is well and all is very good, very, very good. And please join me in saying, and so it is.
So it is.
I now welcome the illustrious Ranj Singh. Take it away, buddy.
Was it only yesterday the world seemed a different place, and everything was moving along just fine? And outside on a sunny day, we watched your little one play. There was not a worry on your mind at all. And in a bar we drank some beers. The band was killing our ears. Some old man played the spoons so out of time. And we tried so hard not to laugh, but the feeling would not pass. We laughed so hard, tears rolled down our eyes. And I won't forget your endless smile. No, I won't forget that endless smile. And it's hard to comprehend why your story had to end. So many empty pages left behind. And I look up to the sky and ask the question why. You take the best, leave fools like me behind. And I won't forget your endless smile. Oh, I won't forget that endless smile. No, I won't forget that endless smile.
Thank you, Ranj. That was gorgeous, as
you.
all of your original pieces are. So amazing. Thank you for being here this morning. And I'm not sure that everybody understands how incredibly lucky we are here that we have some of the best musicians in the Lower Mainland and some of the busiest. I've been following you on Facebook and Instagram, and you are flat out all the time. What's next on the agenda?
Canada Day. I've got Granville Island on Thursday, I believe. So it's been. I'm updating my website tomorrow, so it'll be all posted on there. I think about 20
That's
shows in
great.
July, so it's going to be nice.
A lot of private parties that we're not invited to, unfortunately, but a lot of public appearances as well. So we can all follow you on your website and definitely see you on more occasions than just Sunday mornings.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. So good morning, everyone. And my name is Angela Clark, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for CSL White Rock. And I first would like to welcome any new members this morning or any new visitors to our service. And if you would like a welcome package, please put your name and address in the chat and send that along. Too long, we'll take care of that and getting that out to you. And when you sign up for our newsletter, we'll send it off to you every week, and you can keep touching pace with what we're up to. So the science of mind is a holistic approach to spirituality. It's a philosophy of faith and a way of life. Here at CSL White Rock, we have 4 cornerstone beliefs. They're simple and they're magnificent. There is one life that is the source of all things, all life and all things. We are spirit having a human experience. Nothing outside us needs to change to be happy. This is where that practical spirituality comes in, and I practice this one every day, and I remind myself of it every day. I love number 3. And number 4, we're here to walk each other home. You'll find these fundamental beliefs at the heart of our community, expressed through various forms of connection and participation. So I would now like to ask Tu to put up the announcements when you're ready. Pardon me for 1 second. The dog's barking and I've got to close my door. So this is what's happening at CSL White Rock. We have an invitation for you to connect. After our Zoom gathering today, we're meeting at Bakerview Park at 2 p.m. with practitioner Diane Vachon. Please bring a chair and some water because it's going to be a nice hot day today. And it's a wonderful opportunity to really get to know other members of the community. On Wednesday, June 28th, the Sacred Circle is taking place from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. And this is the last Sacred Circle for the summer, so don't miss out. Next Sunday, July 2nd, we're in person and in Zoom. We're going to be at Brella, and we're going to be discussing Chapter 4 of the Science of Mind. And we're looking for volunteers to support our sound system. We're getting closer to getting it all sorted out. Very important to make sure that we do have great audio for those members on Zoom when we're in person. So if somebody's interested, somebody knows how to set up some PAs and a couple of plugs, it's really quite simple, but please do message too if you would like to help us. And it's my great pleasure to introduce practitioner Diane Vachon to do our meditation today. Thank you, Diane.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This time again, where we just go within and ask for silence and quiet. So I'm going to read again to you some insert from the Silence of the Heart from Ferrini, and add my own words when it's the right thing to say. So join me this moment through the breath, allowing your breath to go in easily, effortlessly, and out naturally. No effort. The breath of love, the breath of life, the breath of God. Just being aware of the outside world and noises, and just ignore it. Refocus within through your breath. The miracle of self. This is the greatest miracle you will ever experience. And it does not lie outside of you. It lies within. That miracle is your very existence. That you exist at all is the testimony of God's love. When you are in touch with God's love for you, everything that happens in your life is miraculous. All you see are extraordinary opportunities to love, learn, create, and be fully present in your life. And we breathe this truth. When you are not in touch with God's love for you, everything that happens in your life seems not to be good enough. You perpetually find fault with yourself, with others, and with your experience. And then you start judging what is going on. And having expectations that doesn't make us feel good. When you feel worthy of God's love, you talk to God. You confide in God, and you are grateful for your life. I am enough. I am worthy of God's love. When you feel that you are just a random, purposeless creation, you have no one to talk to. You lead an isolated, aimless life. And you do not know why you're here. Purpose in life comes from the connection to the divine within you and me. And it comes from a self-affirmation that I matter. There is something here I am meant to do, and God has a plan for me. Divine guidance always is there. We just need to ask for divine guidance and be open to receive it, to see it. Miracle consciousness depends on our ability to feel or intuit the presence of God in our life. And the ability to intuit God's presence depends on our willingness to trust ourselves, to trust others, and to trust life as it unfolds. To trust the flow of life and to choose to be in the flow of life. To let go of everything that is in the way of living our life from this place of trust and flow. Because life, capital L, knows what to do. So let's take a few more breaths. If you want to. Anchoring this truth. This quiet moment of knowing, of sensing truth. And let's bring a smile on our face and in our heart. It's all good. It's all love. It's all good. So bring your attention back in the room where you are or outside. Namaste. And I invite Ranj to come back with the song. Thank you.
heart on the run, keeps a hand on the gun. You can't trust anyone. I was so sure what I needed was more. Tried to shoot out the sun. Days when we raged, we flew off the page. Such damage was done. But I made it through, 'cause somebody knew I was meant for someone. So girl, leave your boots by the bed. We ain't leaving this room till someone needs medical help or the magnolias bloom. It's cold in this house and I ain't going out to chop wood. So cover me up and know you're enough to use me for good. Put your faith to the test when I tore off the dress in Richmond on high. I sobered up, I swore off that stuff forever this time. And the old lover sing, I thought it'd be me who helped him get home. But home was a dream, one that I'd never seen till you came along. So girl, hang your dress up to dry. We ain't leaving this room till Percy Priest breaks open wide and the river runs through. It carries his house on its stones like a piece of driftwood. So cover me up and know you're enough to use me for good. So girl, leave your boots by the bed. We ain't leaving this room till someone needs medical help or the magnolias bloom. Oh, it's cold in this house and I ain't going out to chop wood. So cover me up and know you're enough to use me for good. Cover me up and know you're enough to use me for good.
Wow, that was another amazing song. Thank you so much, Ranj.
Thank you.
And a beautiful meditation from Diane. Thank you. And now we're going to complete that trifecta of beautiful thoughts and feelings and words today with Rev Savanna. Rev Savanna, who's a very dear friend of CSL White Rocks, is a speaker, teacher, and relationship coach. She started her spiritual path at the age of 16 in Denver, Colorado at Mile High Church. Savanna supports people in their discovery of healthy, connected, conscious, intimate relationships and worthiness. Currently, she works with teen girls as a mindset coach. Wow, that's essential work, isn't it? Supporting them with mental health, social anxiety, and depression. She is based in Seattle, Washington. Welcome, Reverend Savanna. Pardon me.
Thank you, Angela. So good to be with all of you this morning. As always, I just have to say thank you, starting with gratitude. Thank you for having me. And today I have the opportunity to continue this entire month where we've been talking about self-care. And my topic today is all about balancing joy and grief. I told Tamara that I wanted to take on this particular topic because it just feels really relevant to a lot of what my experience has been over the last few years. And I think that a lot of us can also resonate with the topic of grief. And so I want you for a moment to just close your eyes and just imagine that you started as this celestial being, this energy. And the universe or God said, hey, do you want to go to Earth for an incredibly short amount of time and experience every emotion you could possibly feel as a human? You get to have all these experiences of love and heartache and anxiety and joy and adventure, euphoria, grief. Do you want to do that? And you said, yeah, I do. And so when you're feeling these intense feelings in your life, it's sort of a moment to step outside and say, although this is an uncomfortable and painful experience, what I'm feeling, it's actually quite beautiful that I have the capacity to experience it. It tells me that I am fully alive. To just opening your eyes. I think that grief is sometimes an unwelcomed visitor, but I think it also has the transformative power about it. And so does joy. Joy is often a welcomed visitor, but it also has that transformative power about it. And I think that both can coexist together. And how might that be, you may ask? So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today. So in preparing this talk, I was thinking about grief and the level at which we experience it in the body. And I have this belief that we hold grief within the body when it's not processed or we don't feel it fully. We carry within us, within our very DNA, and the ancestors, the lineage of grief of what Eckhart Tolle talks about when he talks about the pain body. And until we transcend and transmute that grief, we feel it, we honor it, we acknowledge it, we allow it to come and to go, it can manifest in all sorts of disease and in beliefs that ultimately don't serve the life that we want to create. And a story that I can remember so vividly from years past, I was in ministerial school back in 2012. And a colleague of mine shared with me that his son was actually killed at a nightclub. He was murdered over 20 years ago. And I think that was probably, 30 years ago now. They never found the person who did it. And he shared this very openly, he's very open about it. But he said to me that he never cried over it, that not one tear was ever shed in these now 30 years. Actually, at that time, it was 20. And we were prayer partners at the time. And if you knew this friend and colleague of mine, you would see that he's this really big, strong, mighty teddy bear. But he felt like he had to stay strong for his family, that he could not cry for the family. There's this generational aspect of it too, of not shedding tears and it being weakness if you are to cry. And even his wife never spoke about it. And so over time, he and I, because, ministerial school, we are excavating and we're looking at all the places within us that protect us or guard us from being open to love. And grief is part of that equation. And so we would talk about the power of grief and the power of feeling our feelings fully and what that would mean for him. And over a time period, I remember on one specific call, he was struggling to get the words out. And so I started sharing some struggles that I was going through as maybe a model or a demonstration of what's possible, And interestingly, he got really quiet on the phone. And I believe I was talking to him about a breakup that I had been going through. And he said, Savanna, I'm crying. And it was a really powerful moment. It was a phone call. And he said, Savanna, I'm crying. And he burst out into it was almost like a tears, but a laughter tears. And what we talked about more often than not was how one smaller loss and one grief can open the floodgates to some of the biggest losses that we've had. It takes maybe that one thing in order for us to open up. And he told me that he was so afraid that if he allowed himself to feel everything about his son, if he allowed himself to cry, he would never stop crying. But that day, I witnessed him cry. And one of the beautiful things about his story is that many years later, his wife started to develop cancer, and it was uterine cancer, which I found very interesting considering the whole grief aspect and how we store that in the body can manifest, as I said, as so many things. They decided to take a journey and to scatter their son's ashes all over the Camino de Santiago in Spain. And it was kind of like their own grief project, to really do the work, to feel, to release, to let go. I was looking at some of the studies around tears and around crying, and crying is actually connected to our nervous system and our body's natural ability to self-regulate, which is sometimes why we cry when we're overwhelmed or angry or we feel flooded, right? Tears might flood your eyes. And the reason for that is because your body needs to release. And the research shows right now that oxytocin and endorphins are in our tears. And that crying is the parasympathetic attempt to bring our bodies back to homeostasis. And so our crying in and of itself is your body's attempt to get you out of that fight or flight place. I love this because I cry a lot. And I realize that this is why after crying, we feel so relaxed and we feel so at ease because our parasympathetic nervous system has been activating. It's this soothing effect. Your cortisol levels are then lowered. So think about it this way. If you hold back your tears, it keeps you in a dysregulated state. And so this is an invitation. This is the invitation to let our tears flow because it brings us back into self-regulation. One of the things that I've come to discover is that grief deepens our capacity to love, doesn't it? It brings us closer to that tender heart. It opens our hearts to a depth of empathy that we may have never known before or experienced. When we encounter loss or pain, we become more attuned to the struggles and the sorrows of other people. Our own grief, I think, softens our hearts. It enables us to offer genuine compassion and support to others who are suffering. I know it has made me a teacher, a better minister, a better friend. And I think it also, as we have seen during our time with this COVID experience, it has a unique way of bringing us together. It helps us find a common ground when we share our stories of loss, of heartbreak, of betrayal with people who may have shared a similar path. It helps us to understand, I think, that we are not alone. I also think that whether we want this or not, grief humbles us. It gives us this perspective of the transient nature of life, this appreciation for the present moment. It reminds us of the fragility and the preciousness of life. It encourages us to cherish the moments that we have with our loved ones, to appreciate, all the many blessings that we have around us. And so the gift of grief, I think, is an awakened awareness of this present moment. And it urges us to live each day with an intention and with gratitude. I think for me, the way that it has shown up is it reprioritizing my values. It has this power to reshape our priorities. It prompts us to reflect on what truly matters in life, which again helps us to realign our values and refocus on what is really important, what is really essential. I've shared some of my story before, but I think that it's really aligned with exactly what I'm talking about. Back in 2021, at the beginning of the year, I went through a really crazy tuberculosis diagnosis experience. And when the doctor told me that I tested positive for TB, I said, that's impossible. Like I laughed. I laughed at the universe too. It was just like, are you kidding me? And she said, how many countries have you been to? I said, many. And she said, I've never seen a case of this in the United States. In the last 6 years, I don't know how to treat this. And it was just such a bizarre thing to experience. And so then I got thrown into this interesting health situation where I was on antibiotics for 4 months straight. And I was worried about what it would do to my body and my health. And of course, I'm still working out, aligning my body back to its natural place now, even now, after all the antibiotics. But not only that, a breakup happened right after that. This person I had been with for a while totally disappeared. So it wasn't just a breakup, it was a ghosting. I felt an abandonment had happened. This person just left, no explanation, no conversation, just disappeared. And then many months passed as I was trying to get myself back to, a normalcy, a sense of it. And then, as I've shared before, of dear ex of mine, ex-boyfriend, but also dear friend of mine, went over a ravine, over a cliff in Northern California. His body was never found, and they still haven't found him to this day. And a week after that, a dear friend of mine was murdered in Oakland. And it was like, it just didn't stop coming. And then my stepfather died of COVID, or not of COVID, but he died of a illness, long-term health challenge. And then my cousin died of COVID and left 3 children and a wife, all within a year's time. And as if things couldn't get any harder at that moment, came a job loss in my own spiritual community that I was in because of budget issues and money. And for me, it felt like the loss of a dream and the loss of a vision that I had, before me that was placed on my life, that I thought, this is the next thing. And of course, that first year of COVID for many of us was really hard. And I felt, I'm holding this community together. And I did really well in 2020. But at the same time, what a lot of people didn't know is that 2020 was a year where I became estranged from my sister and her family, and we were all isolated going through that time. And I remember being in it, thinking, could I just have a break? Could something just give? How do I hold this grief and show up every single week on stage and give a talk from a real, authentic space when I feel like my life is falling apart? For most of us, I think it was known, or has come to be known, as ambiguous loss. And ambiguous loss is this emotional ache that never goes away from an old hurt, from a loss that we haven't fully grieved. It's unexplainable loss. It's uncontrollable loss, tragedy, forced isolation, no closure. It's job loss. It's unexpected grief. It's starting over. And I think about ambiguous loss in my life, and I experienced the terrain of every one of those, right? And I am not special in that way. I recognize the great privilege I have to have this teaching and to have tools and to live in the most beautiful place, in the Pacific Northwest, other than up north where you all are. I recognize that. And yet it is still loss. It is still grief. And what I had to see, which took me a while because I was in it and it just kept coming and it never stopped, is I had to look at my grief as, maybe my grief is providing purpose. How can I use this pain? How can I use this ache that I'm feeling for something good? How can I get it out of my body? And so I decided, just like my colleague had, that I was going to use my grief and I was going to use every bit of it up to grieve through expression, and somehow it was going to come out of me. And so I created a grief project. And I decided to make something beautiful to express my love. Now, I did happen to experience in that same year COVID. And because I had had tuberculosis that affected my lungs and my kidneys and my liver, it was hard for me to breathe. So when I got COVID, my experience was a little harder than maybe it would have been otherwise. But I decided, because I love to sing, to use my voice and to to make this grief project in song. It was going to come out through song. And so I went into the recording studio, and I remember going in, not really having a clear picture of what it was going to look like, but I got in front of the microphone and I just started to sing. And to be honest, I was exhausted because I was still recovering. And I listened to the first recordings, and they were vulnerable, they were raw. My voice shaked. You could tell I was having a really hard time breathing. I sent them to my mom and I said, Mom, I want you to see this. And I think she loved it the most because it was so vulnerable and raw. And I said, I can't release this. I have to redo it. So I went in a few weeks later and I re-recorded it and I put it to a slideshow. And I decided that, as I was just saying, grief oftentimes brings us into the present moment. It forces us to look at what is right now, not on the past or on the future, but what we can control and be grateful for now. And so I put together a slideshow of all the beautiful people in my life, all my friends and my family who have loved and supported me, who have been such a transformative power in my life over the last few years. And I put it to song. And it was so healing for me. I wasn't going to release it to the world because it was such a vulnerable project. But I decided, you know what? This is something that might bring us together when we have shared griefs, when we can say to another, you're not alone, I understand, right? So for any of you who would like to see this, I will post it on my Facebook page so you can watch it later if you'd like. But the question that I bring to us today is, can I use my grief to empower joy and to deepen my purpose? Can I see that I am so much more alive and supportive of the people in my life, of my clients, of my partnership, because I walked through this fire? Can I see this experience I'm going through right now as an initiation into my greatest evolution? What is the gift in the grief? I think grief has a way also of deepening our faith. It challenges our faith and it invites us to wrestle with questions of meaning and purpose. It becomes that catalyst for a deeper conversation, for a more authentic relationship with ourselves and the world around us. It is resilience and character development. It has this power, I think, to mold us into resilient individuals of character. I've seen that definitely in my own life. And so as we navigate the complexities of grief, we develop qualities like perseverance and patience and compassion. And it gives us that space, I think, sometimes to ask the bigger questions, to not take any of this life for granted. I remember that after all of this was going on, it deepened me into a place of so much love that I was telling everybody around me that I love them over and over and over. People who I probably never would have said it to. And they were probably caught off guard. Like, why is she telling me she loves me? But it was like the grief had broken my heart wide open. Maya Angelou says this about grief. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same. Whisper to us, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. There's this paradox, I think, of joy. Because in the midst of our grief, it may seem paradoxical to even consider joy. How can we find joy when our hearts are heavy with sorrow? But I think joy is not the absence of pain, but it's this deep sense of peace and contentment that transcends our circumstances. So our joy then is not dependent on external factors, but it comes from this place from within us. It's rooted in this relationship with ourselves. I would also say that this love that I'm talking about that happened for me, of breaking me wide open, is almost synonymous for I was also feeling joy for being alive. if anything, my ability and my capacity to feel more love and more joy happened because I had so much grief. And so choosing joy in the midst of our grief, I think, is an act of faith. It's an affirmation that life is still worth living and that there is a purpose behind your pain. Some of the most incredible, heroine stories have come from people who had to go through the heroine's journey of being in the belly of the whale. They hit bottom, they had the trials and the tribulations, and then they transcended to make something with their lives. It doesn't deny the reality of our grief, but it invites us to rise above, to find hope in the midst of darkness. I was reminded of a really, really powerful story of a man by the name of Anthony Ray Hinton. He wrote a book called The Sun Does Shine. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend this book. In 1985, Anthony Ray Hinton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of capital murder in Alabama. He was stunned, he was confused. He was mowing the lawn in his front yard when the police showed up to arrest him. He was only 29 years old. And he knew that it was a case of mistaken identity, and he believed that the truth would prove his innocence and ultimately set him free. But with no money and a different system of justice, he's in the South in Alabama for a poor Black man. Back then, Hinton was sentenced to death by electrocution. He spent the first 3 years on death row at Holman State Prison in agonizing silence, full of despair and anger toward all of those who had sent him, an innocent man, to his death. But as he accepted and realized his fate, he resolved not only was he going to survive, but he was going to find a way to live on death row. And so for the next 27 years, it blows my mind, 27 years, he was a beacon, transforming not only his own spirit, but those of his fellow inmates, 54 of whom were executed mere feet from his cell. 54 people. And so with the help of a civil rights attorney and one of the best-selling authors of Just Mercy, Brian Stevenson, he was released from prison in 2015. I remember seeing him give an interview on the Oprah show years ago, and it was just so inspiring. His story of grief and loss and perseverance and hope, and how he used his pain to transform himself, even though he knew he was innocent, especially when he knew he was innocent. And so let us move to our joy and gratitude. I think that gratitude is the gateway to joy, because even in the midst of our grief, there are blessings that can be found. Gratitude is the thing that shifts our focus from what we have lost to what we still have. What I love about gratitude, not only because it's in our, way of treating and praying for others, but I'm using it in this program with these teenage girls that I work with every week. And we have them participate in a gratitude exercise every single week, but not just saying what they're grateful for, but why they're grateful for it. And I love that this is not just for the science of mind, new thought teaching, but it's something that everyone can use. It's something that can spread out into the ethers for everyone to have that tool to access. And it opens our eyes to the beauty that surrounds us, reminding us of the preciousness of all of life. Can I use my grief? Can I use this pain to find purpose? Grief deepens us if we let it. Grief humbles us if we notice. Grief breaks our hearts wide open and helps us remember that we are truly alive. And I want to close with this quote by Paulo Coelho. He says, "Never. We never lose our loved ones. They accompany us. They don't disappear from our lives. We are merely in different rooms. And so with that, let us go into a prayer now. Just taking that holy breath. That practice of giving thanks for this present moment, for it is truly the only moment we have. Recognizing that power, that wisdom, that intelligence that guides and directs us at every moment when we turn towards it. When we remember our inherent worthiness, when we remember that we are the beloved, when we remember that on the diverse span of emotion that we all experience, our joy, our grief, our hope, our beauty, our intelligence, and our happiness, that this spark of divine wisdom lives within each and every one of us, that those qualities are part of just the tapestry of our lives, allowing us to awaken within ourselves that resilience, that strength, that wisdom to transcend any experience that we might be facing right now. And so we allow our grief, our challenges, our quote unquote problems to just be there, knowing that there is a peaceful resolve, that there is wisdom within it, that there is a gift, there is something there teaching us what we most need to know to not only deepen consciousness, but to open and expand our hearts. And so I'm knowing this to be true for all of us, for myself, for each and every person tuning in, watching this. That whatever is happening in the world of effect for your life right now, that there is something more powerful going on that lives within us, that the answer is there. We just turn towards it and we listen and we allow ourselves to be receptive to it. I bless today. I bless this beautiful sunny day. I bless you wherever you are, knowing and trusting that something resonated deeply for you in this talk this morning. And so with that, I let go, I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you very much. What a powerful talk. I'm inspired to sing this song I wrote for my grandfather who passed away 17 years ago. Because music, as you mentioned, can heal. And it took me 15 minutes to write this song. So it's for my grandpa. When I grow up, I wanna be like you. When I grow up, I wanna be brave like you. And I could walk this world 1,000 times, never will I find someone like you. When I grow up, I wanna be strong like you. I wanna share my love just like you. And every day I'll remember you and work so hard to be just like you. If I stumble and if I fall, I'll think of you and I will stand so tall. It would be a dream come true if I could be just like you. When I grow up, I wanna laugh like you. When I grow up, I wanna smile like you, and I will brighten every room. Man, it would be so cool to be like you. When I grow up, I'll never show my fear, 'cause I will always know that you are near. So many things I wanna do, but most of all I wanna be just like you. If I stumble and if I fall, I'll think of you and I will stand so tall. It would be a dream come true if I could be just like you. Just like you. Just like you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranj. That was amazing, as always. I love your ability to share your emotions so succinctly but beautifully about things that matter. So thank you for that. Yeah, Georgia says your music transcends us. We are so blessed, so blessed. And as part of that blessing, with everything that we do offer here at CSL, it is time to acknowledge our gratitude for this loving community. As you may know, CSL White Rock is a not-for-profit, and as such, we depend on each other to support and grow our community. It's from a place of love and gratitude that each of us enters into the natural circulation of abundance that is the very pulse of the universe. And if you're willing to place your hand on your heart and know a specific good for yourself and for this center. Thank you too. I give from my heart to that which renews my faith in the perfection of my life. My giving supports the transformation of my consciousness and the unity of all life. So there are a few ways you can support CSL White Rock through donating online at csl-whiterock.com, but you know the address by now. You've all been coming every Sunday. So, and of course, all the information is right here on screen. And we do appreciate every donation that you make to us. Sorry, the chat's coming up and I'm reading it and I shouldn't be doing that. I should be focusing, because please know that our practitioners are available to provide you with prayer support. What an amazing gift this is for this community. If you wish to go deeper, our practitioners are available for one-on-one sessions. So please do take advantage of that incredible offering that we have right here at CSL White Rock. So all the information was there, and you can go back online for the how to donate, etc. So you don't want to listen to me when Ranj Singh is standing in the wings, ready to play us out with another incredible piece of his music or a cover. Not sure what he's going to play, but just know that it's going to be amazing. So over to you, Ranj. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now, glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I held everything. For a moment, wasn't I a king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know, I might have changed it all. And now, glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. It's my life, it's better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Thank you.
Sorry, my notes say it's Georgia, but I'm going to take it up again, or is Georgia speaking now? Nope. Anyway, thank you everybody so much. Thank you to for doing this incredible Zoom facilitation. Thank you for Georgia for her opening and prayer. Thank you to Diane for that beautiful meditation, Ranj for the gorgeous songs, and of course, Rev Savanna for the incredible